Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's get into it. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you both. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I want to talk about your film, A Step Forwards, and just first to tell you kind of what I thought. I really liked the cinematography, the visuals were really good. Just strong performances by everybody, and I liked the character arc as well. And just technically, it was very impressive. So I wanted to just talk to you more about like the film itself and the process and everything. But I think the first question is, I just want to see if you could introduce yourselves, just tell me a little bit about your background, both of you. So either one of you could start.
Do you want me to start, George?
Go for it.
Yeah. So obviously, my name's Wayne Liversidge. I'm an actor and author. I've done a few feature films, a few short films. I've also wrote a book.
Nice.
So yes. So that's me, award-winning actor.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're a pretty creative person,
Very.
it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
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 Awesome. Nice. What about you, George?
So yeah, hi, I'm George. I'm a director, editor based in Brighton. Been sort of filmmaking for a couple years now, but this is my first year of independent filmmaking. And this film is my first film outside of university because I studied there for 3 years. But yeah, I'm just really
Nice.
excited to talk about the film.
Awesome. Yeah. That's very impressive for a first film, I would say. Do you do anything else like acting or any other kind of area?
No, definitely not acting. I mean, I used to act in college because I mean, this is technically my first independent film. I've made lots and lots of films before this, but I do like graphic design, editing, stuff to pay the bills. But like my primary sort of interest is in directing. Um,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of creative people like to dabble in a lot of different areas as well. I've noticed that, and also a lot of the directors I've talked to, a lot of them said they started acting. So it's kind of an interesting pattern I'm seeing there. But let's talk a little bit about like what inspired you to create this specifically, and then yeah, for you, George, and then Wayne, what inspired you or drew you to act in this?
Right. Okay.
Uh, yeah, well, it's interesting you say that because Wayne was actually the one who created the project.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
came to me with it first. Maybe Wayne, if you talk first about it.
Okay, so basically, with a step forwards, it's obviously got the elements of like a mini stroke, which is TIA, and basically, I myself had a mini stroke. So the
Wow.
film, so what happened is I'd got this idea that I wanted to raise awareness via the film medium, and I went to George with this idea, why don't I tell kind of my story a little bit? And he said it might be a bit too like one sided, and then George added his input, and he said actually we need to put like a narrative around your story. So that's how it sort of like came about. But yes, for me, the film has always been about raising awareness of mini strokes, and yeah, and I roped George in to help me out with it. So that's
All
how
right.
it kind of like started. Yeah.
And how did you meet each other? Just curious.
God. we,
Well, we worked together on a short film a couple of years back. about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, the wrong guy,
And we just
weren't it? The wrong guy.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, we just sort of kept in touch, and Wayne reached out,
Mm,
like you mentioned, about wanting to make this project, and yeah, it sounded really interesting to me. Um, and yeah, so like Wayne said, he sort of pitched it, and I sort of I wrote it, directed it. I wanted to add a bit more of like a narrative to it, you know, introducing new characters and sort of character arc and everything like that. But yeah, it was Wayne sort of, it's his baby, you know,
yeah,
it's his idea.
yeah. Thank you.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting way that that came about. I mean, I would imagine most times like the writer is the one that has the idea, but he brought the idea to you and then you turned it into a narrative, which is interesting. Um, that's cool. So talking about like the process of filming this short film, were there any challenges or anything that came up that stood out?
I mean, whenever you film anything, there's so many challenges, especially ones that you can't really predict. I
Yeah.
think we faced quite a lot. Um, one of them was more sort of like sensitivity in like how do we show the stroke, like the TIA? What do we see? What don't we see?
Mm,
How do we end the film? Because like obviously the film ends in a certain way, which is a bit sort of there's a good and a bad ending. You know, like there's is a bit more of a grey area, and sort of when you have the stroke in the film, when we were talking about like do we show it and like and all of that stuff, and I think that
mm,
a big struggle came from what deciding that and then actually physically filming it, what you were comfortable with,
yeah,
and but I'll say that's probably the biggest challenge we faced.
yeah.
Yeah, I like how in this film it's very, show, don't tell, I feel like, the style. And and I feel like you feel it, um, just like the emotions of it. Instead of like a character just telling you how to feel, like you feel it by seeing in it. I like that aspect of it. What do you think, Wayne, about the process, maybe for you as an actor?
Well, for me, I mean, the process was pretty straightforward because it's all sort of like things that kind of I went through, and obviously I did go through a lot more than that, but like you said, we I suppose we tamed it down a little bit. You know what I mean? There could have been lots of other elements, but we we decided to go more on the narrative sort of drama element. But yeah, we're obviously me being an actor and me obviously going through it. It was kind of like natural to just like to get back into that mode really of how I was when it happened. It was fairly straightforward for me.
Was it kind of scary to do that? To
Um,
kind of relive it, or not really?
Not really, no, because like the thing is with like things like a mini stroke and stuff, you you kind of like learn to deal with it. Like I'm still dealing with it now. I mean, I've got like no strength in like my left arm now. So that's and the thing is, all these different things just happen to so you just like learn to live with it, unfortunately, and just get on with life. But for me, the whole point of this film is so that we're raising awareness, so that other people, like may have gone through something similar, and maybe they're not aware that they've actually maybe had like a mini stroke. So that was the main like pull for me, and that's why I wrote Georgian and stuff, so that we could tell this story, but obviously not be
Yeah.
too like focused on just because the way I thought about it was kind of a bit all me really, how I was feeling and stuff. And George said, "Oh no, but people don't know you." You know what I mean? So we looked at it, didn't we, George, and thought, well, yeah, is right. You know what I mean? We need to have a narrative around it and stuff, and it's worked. It's great. I'm really pleased with it.
I think speaking to that idea of it not just being about you, adding the character Julie, played by Charlotte Marshall, I think was a good way to get another perspective in there. And I really liked her performance a lot. I thought that although she wasn't in the film for that long, and she didn't even say that much, I feel like just her facial expressions felt so genuine. That really, kind of struck me. And everyone's performance was great as well. Well, George, speaking about the message, obviously, this is, you want to spread awareness about this, but what else do you want the audience to feel? When you were writing this, what were you thinking, you want people to take away from this film?
Well, like Wayne said, obviously we're raising awareness, but at the same time, it is a short film. There's a narrative to it. It's not like an advertising, or it is a short film. And I think, like you said, adding the characters of Julie and the boss. The reason I did that is because when you have a TIA, it doesn't just affect you; it affects those around you, your family, your friends. And I think I wanted to sort of explore that with the narrative, and sort of how you can really only help yourself when you let yourself heal and take is in the name, take a step forwards and be like, okay, I can't get hung up on this, on myself. I have to sort of push through and improve for other people, and then that's how you sort of grow. And that was a big part of the film that I really liked, and I really wanted to sort of drive that home. That sort of it's not all about you, it's about those that it affects around you, and sort of how shutting them out makes it harder for you to grow. You sort of need to allow yourself to connect with them and just communicate. So that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when you were writing this, just curious, did you kind of consult with Wayne a lot? Was it like a back and forth type thing, or was it more like Wayne explained it to you and you ran with it on your own type of thing?
Well, Wayne sent me a very rough script to begin with, which was more or less like a true, like, real life version of what happened. And then I would sort of be like, okay, I'm thinking of adding this character, this dynamic, this scene, because there was a lot of stuff, like Wayne mentioned earlier, that he went through that we pulled back for, just because we wanted the film to not too dramatic. We would sort of collaborate. I wrote it, but I would sort of, Wayne would be like, maybe try this and do that, and like with the character of Julie, I really wanted to drive that, and add her. But yeah, it was very collaborative.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a good team effort, really, between me and George. We wouldn't agree on everything, did we? But most of it we agreed on, and towards the end, we came to that agreement. Actually, that's the right way to go. Otherwise, like George was saying, it could have ended up just like being like an advert, and that's not really what I wanted. I didn't really want an advert. I want. Obviously, me being an actor as well is like I wanted it to be a film.
Yeah, and like I mentioned about like the arc, I like that, it's kind of about him taking control towards the end, right? And I thought that was pretty powerful. Is that something you kind of, George, like consciously were thinking, like, I want to have an arc here, and I want there to be, him to take control?
100%. I think there are a lot of little moments that happen in the film that sort of relate to this. For example, him with the biscuits at the beginning.
The biscuits.
and I wanted to show that he is the sort of guy who he just he feels out of control. Like everything, like he's not one to stand up for himself. He's not one to sort of have confidence in himself. And I think that um, the journey he goes on, he completely changes because he sort of self reflects, and with the biscuits, he then takes them back at the end. And I wanted to show that it's like a small little, it's like a joke, it's like a small little thing,
Yeah.
but it's such an important like moment for the character, as well as obviously the sort of major like emotional like character interactions he has. Um, but yeah, control and like learning to um, take control and to not just buckle under the pressure of, oh, I can't control this. This is it. Learning to be like, okay, this happened, um, and what am I going to do about it? And like, I'm not going to just let it ruin my life. I need to take control of my life, and that's how I improve. And that was definitely the biggest theme that I wanted to implement to the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good message there. What would you say, maybe both of you, like what you learned from this experience making this film? What's something that you think you're going to take into maybe other projects that you learned?
I think for me is like I think the narrative is more. I never used to think about it as much, but like I think the narrative is very important, and like how George like formulated the narrative perfect. You know what I mean? Like you said that like Julie and that how Julie's like when he's like told her and stuff, she's like really like supportive and stuff. It was kind of like, oh, why didn't you let me in type thing, innit? It's that
Hmm.
thing, so I think I take that away from this story. I think that's great to think about narrative, because obviously myself, I'm doing a feature film and stuff, which is another kind of like true story. So it's based on my life, and I will certainly use that to help me with my feature film. So yeah, no, it's good learning point for me. That very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you learn so much making every film. I think one thing in this one in particular, because it was my first film outside of university, is working with such a great crew. Also, a lot of new people I've never worked with before, and just sort of trusting them, and also with the film that you've mentioned, that it's very visual, and that was deliberate. I wanted to sort of try and have as little dialogue as possible. That was one of the sort of angles I came at this film with, is how can I tell this story where, because for most of the film it's just one guy on his own, so there's not a lot of opportunities to talk. I just wanted to sort of try and yeah, just show not tell, and I think, yeah, there's so many things you can learn. I think I could have done things better in some areas, and I'm also really proud of um, some of the things I have done. I think it's an experiment. Every film's an experiment, and I think that this one, I'm glad I did it, and um, yeah, and I there's so many things that I've learned from this that I'm going to use on future projects. Like I really like the scene transitions, like the flow of the. I guess as an editor, that's a huge part of this for me. Is the pacing, the scenes connecting into each other, when to cut, when to show someone and not to show them. Uh, and I think that, yeah, mainly because this was just Wayne the whole film, pretty much the whole film. And like, what do I show? It's like I feel like I wanted to show that he was like in his own world, like in his own bubble. So we don't have a lot of wide shots. It's a lot of close ups. And
Hmm.
I'm really glad we did that because we got some really great shots.
Yeah. There you
Um,
go.
really, really good.
You did the editing as well, George?
Yes, yep. I love editing. I edit all of my own films. Just for me, it's like it's directing part two. Like it's in post. You're editing the pacing. You're editing. Do I cut lines? Do I trim scenes? It's so important, and I think I just love it because that's where the film shapes up. Um, and yeah, so yeah, I edited this and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good time editing. Yeah.
Were there any like big changes you made in the editing process compared to how it was shot or and written, or not too much?
Not particularly for this project. A lot of my other projects sort of do change quite drastically in the edit, but this one I planned it so meticulously that because a lot of the film is like match cuts or like scenes that flow right into each other in like a sort of dazed, confused way, and it sort of I couldn't really just play around with it. I did cut one scene, but most of it stayed in because just the way I like to direct is very particular. Like I storyboard every single shot, plan it. Everything needs to be planned. I get a bit crazy if nothing's planned, and just because it helps in the edit. Because I've worked on so many projects where a lot of directors will just film on the day. They'll be like, okay, camera goes there. Yeah, that shot will be all right. And then in the edit, we're like, oh, we didn't get enough coverage and everything like that. So I'm very attuned to what I need. And this film was like an exercise in that. It's like, okay, this is exactly what I need. It's the bare minimum of shots I need to get this done. Let's see what happens. And of course, no job is easy, but it did help to prepare. But yeah, I think a lot of the challenges were sort of because it is quite a slow-paced film. I do like to have a faster pace, but I think I wanted to try something different with this film, and that was definitely one of the aspects that I'm glad I did a slower pace, a more serious tone as well.
Yeah, I think that's a recurring theme in a lot of the interviews I do, that the directors are very meticulous. It seems to be almost unanimous. And I'm always curious about that. Like, I imagine maybe there's some great directors that are a little bit more spontaneous. I don't know, or maybe, but it seems like almost all of the ones that I've talked to in these interviews, of films that I really like, they're very meticulous about it. So that's been interesting. So yeah, well, the last thing I wanted to ask is just about upcoming projects. If you could just tell me a little bit about that. Wayne, you mentioned a feature film. So if you both could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So, do you want me to start, George? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So I've got a couple of features. So I've got I've got 2 more days shoot on a feature film called Whistleblower and Whistleblower, and we've just finished a film called Goliath, which is like a found footage film. So I've got those 2 coming up. There's obviously going to be festival run for Step Forwards, and I'm also the other film I was talking about was Love's Poison. So that's going to be my feature film. I will be in it, but not. I'll be more in the background because it's my story. So I've already wrote a book and done an Audible about it. So I'm now going to turn it into a feature film with the help of a big team and stuff to help me get it out there. So yeah, this is quite a busy time for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot going on. Nice.
Yep.
What about you, George? Nice. Sounds very different from a step forwards. Although it's kind of a scary situation too, but obviously not a horror. So it's a different thing there. So that's cool. It's exciting. Well, all right. Well, we're pretty much done with the interview, but it was like great talking to you. Congrats on the film. It was awesome. and look forward to seeing what you guys do next.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks
All right,
a lot.
yeah.
We do appreciate it. It's lovely. Thank you.
Great, yeah. It was great talking to you and meeting you both. So have a great rest of your day, and yeah, I'll keep in touch.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right, see ya. Bye.